Welcome everyone to the live stream, or Facts and Friends, or whatever you want to call it today. This is the day before Memorial Day, 2022, and it has been a terrible week for America. Hi Jessica, hi producer Jojo, you were first. Phyllis, good to see you. Stephanie, good to see you as well. So we'll get right into it. I just probably take a few minutes here. Hi Christopher, hey Cindy. We'll take a few minutes here and see what Fox and Friends covered this morning. Maria Bartolomeo, which we usually do on Sundays, she's off this week, and I watched the first couple of minutes of the show. The guest lineup is pretty much the third stringers because it's Memorial Day weekend. Everybody is wanting to go somewhere fun, like the Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's where Fox and Friends is hosting from, not from the scene of the mass gun murder in Texas, but from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's fine. They're not hard-hitting news. It's just Fox and someone's friends. Speaking of friends, let's get going with this.
Yeah, DJ Moore. Yeah, the big DJ Moore. He's a wide receiver for
go
the
to
Carolina
the news.
Panthers.
Cut to the news.
So.
All right, now we start with the Fox News alert. President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden are set to travel to Uvalde, Texas this morning.
That's right, and they're going to meet with families of Robb Elementary shooting victims and first responders who, of course, were on the scene.
Senior correspondent Casey Stiegel is live in Uvalde. Casey.
Yeah, good morning to you guys. They'll be on the ground here for about 8 hours or so, landing in San Antonio and then making their way by air over here to Uvalde, Texas, which is about 80 miles or so to the west.
Interesting that President Biden and Dr. Jill Biden are visiting Uvalde. They just last week went to Buffalo to visit the survivors in Buffalo, and I think this is where Biden is at his strongest as the consoler-in-chief, because of course he's had to face such personal tragedy in his own life. Christopher Ryan says, is the father who died of the broken heart syndrome part of the 22 killed? Possibly. They might be considering the shooter in that 22 killed. Either way, 22, 27, very, very bad. But yes, he absolutely should be counted.
They're going to be visiting.
What I wanted to say is that President Trump, following several natural disasters, including hurricanes, said he was going to go see the hurricane. Oh, he was going to talk to Hannity. He said he was going to go see the wall because of the immigration crisis. He was going to go to the border. Why won't Joe Biden go to the border? I'm going to go to the border within a matter of weeks. That was 10, 12, 16 months ago. It's all nonsense. Still waiting on that.
The memorial at the school.
But I haven't heard Trump say that he's going to go visit Uvalde to somehow comfort these people. He did the moment of silence by reading aloud the names of the victims, followed by a sound effect of a bell, and then went on to say that the Second Amendment is under siege.
School and also attending
at random, you just got here. We just got started.
Mass while they are here, in addition to those meetings with surviving family members and some of those first responders, as you said. They have an awful lot waiting for them here in Uvalde. Now, 5 days since the tragedy, in talking with some of the locals here, they have said they sure hope that this does not become politicized. They rather that there be a tone of comfort and concern, since they are essentially broken right now.
We must stand stronger. We cannot outlaw tragedy, I know, but we can make America safer.
Now, meantime, police admit that mistakes were made in those crucial...
Huge mistakes, and we still don't know the breadth of those mistakes.
Moments after Tuesday's shooting, the New York Post reports that the school district's police chief may not have even had a radio on him at the time when he made a call for officers to stand back instead of confronting the gunman. More than 45 minutes have now ticked by in that time frame. When all was said and done, 21 people were killed. 19 kids, mostly fourth graders, and then 2 teachers.
Remember, Trump said he was going to fix this. He said that several times. Let's see if I have that. I was just looking for it the other day. I think I posted it on Twitter. Let's see where it comes. Yeah, so Trump was asked what you're going to do to fix this.
What was your most difficult day thus far?
And he talked about this in context of what was hard for him as a president. It was dealing with the people, the survivors of the shooting. It's really, school shootings are tough on the president, really. Well, what have you done? What have you done? What are you going to do?
And you say, is there something we can do? What can we do? What can, because there's so many different sides to it.
What can we do?
Well, you can do a lot of the things that we've done. We did
a lot of the things that we've done. That's what you can do. A lot of the things that we've done, which was nothing.
A report. The Florida shooting was horrible. And for some reason, that group of people, they're terrific. I got to be friendly with a lot of them. And we did a report, and they really appreciated the report. We did it with them and with experts.
They did a report. So they really appreciated that report. So that was nice. But boy, was it tough on the president. Just really, really, really tough. Let's see. I've got, and then is this the one that I wanted to show you guys? That's not it. This is Philip Holloway. This is a guest.
Agree with Kellyanne and others who have said on this show in this past 45, 50 minutes or so that hardening these targets is one of the best things that we can do. Look, if we can do this to our courthouses, even the smallest, most insignificant, like traffic court has 4 or 5 heavily armed police officers at every entrance, along with metal detectors. Certainly we can do this with our schools.
Every elementary school. And then, Memorial Day parades. And July 4th parades. Any crowds of any kind. Let's just have armed guns, armed officers everywhere in the country. Every third person will be a member of the military. And that's the way we protect it. Every other country without this big gun thing going on doesn't have all these big gun problems on a regular basis. We do. But the fix is not to do anything about the guns. Heaven forbid that. That would be political. The fix is to pour money in and take the windows out of the doors. Such idiocy. There's another one. This is right after the Parkland shooting.
We defend the Second Amendment and don't.
Yeah, and this is what he says every time. Your Second Amendment is under siege. He said it on Thursday at the NRA convention. Everyone needs to be armed. Double armed, triple armed. If they have AK-47s, we should have AK-48s. Hold on, because I do want to find something here. Let's see, this was... no, not that. Here it is again if you missed this. This is Trump at the NRA convention. I'll bring it over so you can see it. This is Trump.
Hero Ulysses S. Grant and
Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses S. Grant. He gets these things incorrect. It's Ulysses, by the way. Ulysses S. Grant. He gets these things incorrect. The scary part isn't that he's getting them incorrect. Everybody can make mistakes. I make mistakes with names all the time. I'm terrible. And honestly, Ulysses or Ulysses, not a common name. It's that no one corrects him. Nobody in his sphere of influence has any sort of say or sway on the man, and he just keeps making the same stupid mistakes. Where was it? List of schools with school shootings. You can't even read it. They've done studies on arming the teachers. Texas is one of those states where a teacher can bring a gun to school. Just fine. So Texas, anybody can have a gun at any time. Not quite accurate, but it's like that. They've done studies on this. The Rand Corp, the think tank, did a study on it, and it doesn't show any increase or decrease to school shootings. It doesn't seem to make any effect whatsoever. Let's see if this is what I'm looking for. No, that's 30 seconds of it. I couldn't find that speech. Let's see if this is the one. Nope, that's not the one. Damn it, I think I did find it, and I must not have posted it to Twitter. But there was a point after Parkland, or maybe after Santa Fe, or whatever it was after, where Trump said, we're going to do everything we can possibly do to keep this from happening. And then went to a rally and said, never forget, your Second Amendment is under siege. And we will always, always stand for the Second Amendment. Same guy.
He was not taken anywhere near the victims. He is being held currently in a separate county, in a morgue. We're waiting for the victims to all be released to Uvalde before we send him in for the examination. So that's just a respect for the victims.
Trump did say that. Trump took a picture. He went to, I think it was after El Paso. Could be wrong. Again, the point is, there's so many shootings, I can't even keep track of where and when Trump went and did something stupid. That's a multiple of factors there. It's how many stupid things Trump has done and how many shootings there's been. Both of them. Way too many.
According to the Daily Mail, the shooter's sister is enlisted in the U.S. Navy and returned here to Uvalde when her grandmother was shot. Remember, that's what started this whole incident in the first place. Police say the gunman shot his grandmother in the face. She has survived and is at...
Yeah, it was El Paso, posed with I don't know if the baby was orphaned, but yeah, I remember him holding a baby, and the nurses and doctors were around him as well, and he gave it a big thumbs up, I think. Let's find it, because I do want to... it's just another... Do I want to feel sick? Yeah, why not? Hold on. Trump hospital. For those of you who don't remember, picture baby El Paso. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Anger as grinning Trump gives thumbs up while Melania holds El Paso orphan. These people are incapable of shame. They don't have no shame. They've never had no shame. They can't even conceive of shame.
Hospital in San Antonio, but that is what led to this shooting in the first place. He then fled the scene, which is not far from that elementary school, wrecked out, crashed his truck there, and we know the rest from there. We'll be here on the ground all day, of course, covering the first...
Trouble is, we don't know the rest.
Lady and the president's visit here in this broken community.
You can be mad at the chief of police. You can be mad at the school district. Keep in mind, the school district had its own police department. That school district was hardened. They didn't have to depend on the city police or the sheriff or the border patrol or anything. The whole point was we're going to have our own police department. We're going to take care of it. We're going to have them at the high schools. We're going to have deputies doing patrols. We're going to have resource officers. We're going to have people protecting the kids and making sure that the kids don't hurt each other. It's all good. We got our own police department. We got an evacuation plan. We do the drills. The teachers are trained. The doors are locked. And it didn't work.
Rachel, Will, Pete, back to you guys.
We can be mad at everybody all along the way, every step, every miscalculation, every mistake. But the bottom line is that man, barely a man, 18 years old, should not have had 2 assault rifles and 1,600 rounds of ammunition. That's the bottom line. All of the anger towards everybody else is because of the beginning step. And that beginning step is an 18-year-old without any kind of training or psychiatric evaluation with 2 assault rifles. There's your problem.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you, Casey.
You know, Casey brings up the grandmother. Rachel, you did an interview on your podcast, and we had the doctor yesterday here on the show. I think it is so important. We're going to, of course, mourn and grieve for those who have been lost, but to figure out how we move forward and to figure out what's happening with, yes, young people and our culture at large, but young men in particular in this culture. And I think
it's not all young men. It's a very, very, very tiny subset of young men. But we give those crazy, I know we're not supposed to use the word crazy, we give those mentally disturbed young men guns. There's nothing stopping them.
The grandmother.
Red flag laws don't seem to work. They would if they were applied, but who wants to do that? Who wants to rat out on some kid? Oh, a teacher might. But then you have a case like up by the border where the teacher said, hey, this kid is like drawing pictures of blood and bullets and guns, and he talks about a gun that he got, and the parents are like, just don't mention it in class, kid. And then they tried to flee to the border.
And the fact that she is anticipated to survive.
I don't even know what's going on with that case. I know that they've charged the parents. Again, so much that you can't even keep track of it. If this was in Canada or Norway or Sweden or one of the other, the not shithole countries, that would be a daily update on the news. That would be the trial of the century. Not Johnny Depp and whoever else. Amber Heard, I know. Accentuating a point. I've never heard of her.
Could help begin to provide some answers where this young man began to go wrong, because we need to be able to identify these types of individuals going forward.
Yeah, it's such a great point. The grandmother, the mother.
Yeah, and if only the Republicans would give us some money for mental health care. Wouldn't that be great? No. Nope, sorry. People got to learn, pull up their own bootstraps. Hold on. Does Texas even have Obamacare? Hold on. Texas Obamacare, or is it one of the 19 stupid states? Obamacare, healthcare.gov, health insurance official site of affordable healthcare, healthcare.gov, but is it available in Texas? Obamacare in Texas. Okay. Passed in 2010. Let's see. Let me just Texas. So it looks like it's there. But I want to say they fought it for a while. Let me see when they actually did it. No. Texas has not expanded Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act. It's little bits of Obamacare is what they have. But they haven't expanded Obamacare. Did they turn down $100 billion when the Republicans rejected Medicare expansion? This is a fact check from the Austin American-Statesman. And let's see what they say about that. Because they turned it down. The Republican Congress were like, no, we don't want this. Let's see. So they're ruling on this. Yeah, the state would have received between $5 billion and $6 billion annually. They turned it down. From the federal government. This is money to pay for people to get the health care that they need. The mental health, wellness, and they turned it down. $6 billion a year. And they turned it down. Because it's Obamacare. And we're not going to have Obamacare. And then you get a child who's obviously disturbed, turns into a man, buys himself some guns, and shoots up a school. Does one cause the other? No. Could one have possibly helped the other keep from happening? Yes. Yes. Here is some free money. By the way, this money comes from you people. You have been taxed, Texas. That money has gone to the federal government, and now the federal government wants to give it back to you, so that you can make sure everybody's got health care. What happens when people don't have health care in your state? Well, they go to the emergency room. They don't go to the doctor. And in the emergency room, they get treated. And the hospital raises the prices for you because they have to cover the cost of the people without the insurance. If they have insurance, they have better care overall. And we're talking preventative care from the doctors. And when you have the preventative care, you don't end up in the ER because going to the ER is very, very expensive. So, the citizens of Texas have paid into the system. The Republicans have said, we don't want that money back. We will make our citizens pay not just the taxes, but then double and triple that amount when people go to the ER and their rates go up. It's insanity. fucking insanity just because it's called Obamacare. If you're in Texas, move away.
The grandfather was in his life, and also his sister, who's now returned to take care of the grandmother who was shot in the face and is recovering in the hospital. You know, Dr. Helen Smith, who we spoke to yesterday, she's a forensic psychologist who deals with children who are violent. And she actually said on my podcast that she's surprised there's not more of these, given this stew of, you know, in our culture and what's happening with families and just this sort of isolation that I...
There have always been broken families. There are broken families in Canada. There are broken families in England and Norway and France and Spain and Germany. There are broken families all over the planet. It's not the broken family. They don't have the same gun problems that we do.
I think has been exacerbated.
There are people with mental illness everywhere on the planet. Canada's pretty much the same country as the United States. We've got better healthcare in Canada and not as many guns. I should say not as easy access to guns. And you are 10 times more likely to be killed in a homicide here in the States than you are in Canada.
Exacerbated by both social media and then put on overdrive, perhaps even during...
Okay, Canada does have social media. I can guarantee that. I talk to my Facebook friends in Canada all the time. They have social media.
This pandemic, when kids were, you know, isolated more than we ever could have imagined.
Yeah, and then in sick...
That's what it was. People were isolated because of the pandemic. Guess what? That happened in Canada as well. That happened in Norway, not so much in Sweden. That happened in Finland. That happened in Denmark. That happened in Germany, etc., etc., etc. They don't have the repetitive school shootings like we do. Any kind of shootings.
Corners of the internet, it gets glorified, and you get copycats, and you get that unfortunate reality. I will say some of the information out of Casey Stiegel's report.
Isn't it, Christopher? Christopher just found out that Canada has social media. It's like, I'm pretty sure they banned it there, eh? No, they've got access to it. I think you got to go through a DMZ or something like that, but you can get it.
The police chief didn't have a radio. That's an interesting detail, but it's more...
The police chief can use a cell phone. That's not a big deal.
Or did he have an incomplete picture of what was actually going on? Yes. Did he get relayed the 911 calls? Did he have a sense of people alive in that classroom? Maybe we'll learn more about that soon. Also, from Lawrence Jones this morning, we're told that the school resource officer initially told police that he did engage the shooter. But then when he wrote a written statement, which is a sworn statement, which is something that needs to hold up in a court of law, he backtracked and said he didn't engage with the shooter. Instead, from what I understand, he drove past accidentally, or didn't actually engage. Thought a teacher.
From what we know, the shooter ducked behind a vehicle or fence or something. I don't even know. We don't know, but that's what we're led to believe at this point. School resource officer. Again, this was a hardened school. The police officer that belonged patrolling that school at that time drove right past the shooter because the shooter did that and got by all the defenses, all the money spent on all the hardening. The guy with the AR-15 got right by it by doing this. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Everything but fix the problem. That's what you're going to do.
Sure was the shooter.
A mass shooting in Chattanooga? Oh, God. Really? Are you being serious?
So, again, way too long. And apparently the police chief went through mass shooter training as well, just in December. So, too many mistakes to be had, but also the fog of the initial incident.
Yeah, I see it. Several injured after shooting in downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. 6 people injured on Saturday after shooting in downtown Chattanooga. Most victims in their teens and early 20s. Police were patrolling the area, and it'll be a blip on the radar. Nobody died. How many people died? 5? No, I'm not. They didn't in Chattanooga. So far, what I'm seeing is that 6 people were injured. No one dead so far. That's just the latest update from ABC News. But it blip on the radar. Moving on. How many people have to die in a mass shooting? Remember right when this first happened? It was 12 kids. Wow, that's almost as many as X or X or X. Thank God it was only 12. No, don't compare things to Newtown. Don't compare things to the Pearl nightclub. Don't compare things to Vegas. Every single one of them is bad. Sacramento. Stephanie, I think, is in Sacramento. No, she's in Stockton. But yeah, shootings happened in Stockton. Sacramento just went through 2 mass shootings in the span of a week and a half.
Becoming a little clearer now.
It's really hard to get past.
New York had not 1, but 2 shootings on the subway. And New York is really hard on guns. The trouble is as long as everybody is not super hard on guns, it's super easy to get one.
And by the way, the chief of the school district now has police guarding his home because I guess he's worried because people are really angry and people want answers. And many people, are just think this is unacceptable. I mean, you had children inside the classroom calling 911, pleading for help, and there were officers outside who couldn't get in. Also,
that is a horrific disconnect. When you have kids in the classroom saying, "I'm still alive, hello," and the police not doing something at that point. That's not the protocol since Columbine. If you're listening to me for the first time in a while, and if you haven't heard this, Columbine changed everything. It used to be you set up a perimeter, you bring in a hostage negotiator, blah, blah, blah. Columbine, Dylan, not Dylan. Yeah, it was Dylan, and I forget the other. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what their names were. They just kept shooting people, killing people. A teacher bled out. Lives would have been saved if the police had gone in right away.
Congressman.
So anyway, now with a school shooter, you get in and you get the shooter. That is what you do. Even if you're by yourself, there's some protocols where you have to wait for 1 other officer, 2 other officers, some backup, the SWAT team, whatever. No. Now the protocol is you go in, guns ablaze, and you hit the shooter. You don't go in guns ablaze, by the way. I shouldn't have said that, but yeah.
God, why am I missing him? Gonzalez, from the district. He said that he spoke to somebody who was one of the officers who was outside who said, as you mentioned yesterday, Pete, these doors are highly reinforced because the idea was to keep shooters out of the classroom in a situation like this. Maybe hadn't thought about what happens if the shooter's inside, makes it harder to get into those.
It certainly does.
And so they had to use.
So you fortify the door and make it really hard to get in, unless you're the shooter and you just shoot through the window and then reach in and under. This is what we've heard. We don't know if that's an actual fact. That's what's been reported, but all kinds of stuff has been reported that turned out maybe not to be the case. We don't know. What we need is Trump to do a report. That'll fix everything. And they were very pleased with this report.
Something akin to a crowbar.
What can you do? Well, we can do a lot of things we've done.
We've talked about how we move forward, what we can do, looking at our culture.
Well, a lot of things. It's a culture. That's what it is. It's the culture. What does this culture have that the other cultures that don't have these school shootings all the time, what does this culture have that the other cultures don't? I'll give you a hint. It's not Johnny Depp, because he's everywhere.
Many want to turn to guns. Former President Donald Trump was in Wyoming last night, Casper, Wyoming, and he put attention.
Again, let's not be focused on our anger at the authorities in this case. Let's focus our anger where it should be focused, on the gunman and the fact that he can have a gun.
On another aspect that we have talked about, that is reinforcing schools. Here's what he had to say.
We all saw the terrible tragedy that happened this week in Texas. What a horrible, horrible thing to see. And I can tell you, just having left Texas, they are devastated. The whole country's devastated.
Where I spoke at the NRA convention and told them that their guns are not in danger at all. We're under siege with the second. Anyway, I'm not going to play that part. I'm sure he must have said under siege.
Actually, the whole world is devastated. So now we urgently need to invest in securing our schools.
Yeah, that was already done with that school. That's the reason it was so hard to get to the shooter. Idiocy.
We spend trillions and trillions of dollars in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and we got absolutely nothing for it. Before we nation build the rest of the world, we should be building safe schools for our own children in our own nation. and in our own towns.
And of course, it shouldn't go without mentioning $60 billion just sent to Ukraine.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to mention that. Completely different pile of cash. Money has been spent in Uvalde. Again, that is a locked down school. That has been hardened. They have their own police force. Remember, there was an officer at Parkland when the school shooter went into Parkland and started shooting students. He was there. He decided he wasn't going to go in either. Because you could train someone however you want to be. The trouble is, once it gets down to being a human being at the scene of a crime like that, and I would like to think that I would run it. I've been trained to do this. This is what I'm supposed to do. I will be saving lives. But guess what? I've got 2 kids, and I would like to go home to them at night because I'm told that every day as well. Not only by my family, but by the people doing the training. Just, your number one job is get home safe at night. And also to protect people. It's tough. Being a cop sucks. So we don't know. We can spend all the money we want. We can pay a police officer $1 million a year. It's not going to change things when the S hits the fan.
Yeah. In addition to the equipment left behind.
Ann says 48% of the town's budget for school cop force. I think that's the police force in general. But yeah, in other words, half the money going into that town, half the money, I should say, spent by that town goes to police force.
Afghanistan, plenty of money. This is not a resource problem. This is a priority problem across the board.
Millions and millions sent for COVID to schools who have only spent about $7.
Not a priority problem. Spending money on COVID tests didn't kill those 19 kids. That wasn't the culprit.
Percent of that. So I think if you probably polled the American people and asked them where they want that money to go at this point with COVID behind us.
If you poll the American people, 90% of them want increased background checks. 90%. Let's talk about that poll.
I'm sure most people would say we want to.
Most people, 67%, think that we don't need assault weapons, especially not in the hands of an 18-year-old.
Secure our school.
Stephanie says, seriously, I inherited a lot of my weapons. The mental health in my family isn't great. What if someone else had gotten them? True. And that happens all the time, too. People get guns. The shooter in Newtown got the guns from his mom. He killed her with one of them and then went down to the school with a few more and killed a bunch of kids.
With that money, and there's plenty of money to do it. It just needs a will to do it.
And
no, there's not plenty of money to do it. We're in huge debt, but that's not really the topic right now.
Of course, President Trump in Wyoming.
And again, this school had been hardened.
Because he's taken on Liz Cheney in a primary there, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Absolutely packed crowd there, as you can see from that footage. So, interesting race.
For sure. All right, let's turn to...
Wait, Stephanie, you have a hand grenade? I'm not sure that's legal.
A few additional headlines this morning as well, starting with a Fox News alert.
Please. It's going to be about like, oh wait, no, okay, here's another. This is another shooting.
People are hurt after a shooting overnight in Chattanooga, right outside the Tennessee Aquarium.
I want to go to the aquarium.
2 people have life-threatening injuries. Police say officers were patrolling downtown when the gunfire broke out. They believe.
No, I want the tracer bullets. I love tracer bullets, Stephanie. They're so much fun. Can someone block the? I'm getting naked HD nonsense in here.
It started between multiple groups of juveniles. One person of interest is in custody. And a large solid gold tabernacle worth $2 million.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, the teachers were the enemy. Now we want to arm the teachers. Not with class books where they might learn CRT. Now we want to arm them with guns.
$1 is stolen from a Catholic church in Brooklyn. Police say the thieves drilled and cut a giant hole into the tabernacle's casing to pull it out.
Wow.
They also decapitated the head of a marble angel statue.
Why?
The NYPD says it's looking for an unknown.
I get the stealing of the tabernacle if it's made from solid gold. I get that. That's worth a couple of $1 million. They'll probably get $100,000, $200,000 out of it pawning it. But they were fencing it anyway. They're not going to take it to a pawn store. That'd be very funny.
Number of suspects. To the Rachel.
The USFL.
Yes.
Okay, we're not going to watch that because we'll probably get in trouble for watching that. Oh, there's more USFL? Okay, yep, they're advertising. The USFL is only on Fox. It's kind of a Fox league, so they're advertising that. I've actually never come across an actual broadcast of it. Not that I watch a lot of live TV, but I have not heard a peep about the USFL outside of Fox. I don't know if anybody in the sports industry. No, but all of the teams play in Birmingham. From what I can, it is Birmingham, right? Let's go back here. Yeah, Birmingham. All of the teams play in Birmingham. So they're called Pittsburgh Maulers and the Birmingham Stallions and the Dallas whatever. But they're not. They don't play their games there. So it's hard to build up a fan base. But anyway, that's a thing. Let's just go. Hold on. Let's go to Sports Illustrated. Let's go to the ESPN.com and we'll see if it's even listed here. Here we go. Stanley Cup playoffs, MLB, soccer, tennis. What else? What if we go to football? We're digging in now deeply here. College sports, Olympic sports. Does it even exist? The NFL is there. NHL, etc. Tennis. And it does X Games? XFL. No, the XFL. The XFL, I think, is gone. I don't even know if it's around anymore. Oh, of course, ABC owns ESPN. So let's do this. Let's Sports Illustrated. There we go. I don't think they're owned by one of the other channels. SI.com. And Mixed Martial Arts has a link. The NFL has a link. I'm not seeing anything for this. What's on TV? Maybe we'll go to What's on TV. Oh, Seattle Sounders. Is that some kind of championship? No. No. Read more. Looking for any mention whatsoever of this USFL. No. All right. Anyway, that was just a side. Doesn't matter to anybody. Here we go.
The church.
But that's the story. That is the story on what's supposed to be a news channel. Is their little football league where everybody plays in the same stadium. Good for Birmingham. I hope the folks there are enjoying it. I really do. I'm absolutely sincere with that. They don't have their own football team. Now they do. They must have had one during the original USFL. I'm too young to remember that.
Gotta be heavy.
If I was in Birmingham and I could take my kids to a game for $10, I'd probably do it.
Walk down the street with it.
No.
Is there one in each Catholic church?
Yes, and that is where you store consecrated hosts, which we believe is Jesus himself. So a major deal for Catholics that happened, and speaks a lot to the kind of crime that's happening in the city of New York.
No, not really. It speaks a lot to people wanting $2 million in gold. And there's crimes happening everywhere.
All right, well, we have a Fox News alert. A new gas high. Prices jumping again overnight.
Yep.
This is more than 39 million Americans are traveling this Memorial Day weekend.
Griff Jenkins joins us live from Washington with the detail.
Again, I look at these prices, and having lived in California for a while, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cheap. I'm so warped.
Good morning, Griff.
Good morning, Will, Pete, and Rachel. There is pain out there on the holiday road where AAA says of the 39 million Americans traveling, 35 of them are expected to load up that family truckster and drive. And this is a record no one wants to hit. Let us show you again the average price of a gallon of gas hitting the all-time high today at $4.61, almost the same a week ago, a month ago, $4.15, a year ago, $3.04. And there's nowhere.
Right, and this is worldwide, by the way. Record prices worldwide. It's not just here in the States. It really has very little to do with Biden.
Safe to escape.
It has to do with the price of oil, the refining, and then the profits that the oil companies are taking. Exxon's profits doubled in the first quarter compared to last quarter. Sorry, same quarter last year.
The misery. Look at this map. Gas prices topping $4 in every single state. And in fact, guys, I actually took a picture yesterday, stunned, because the first time in my life I actually paid $100. You see it there.
Okay, but so you got a 20-gallon tank. What do you got, like an SUV or a truck? Yeah. That's okay. So you hit $100.
to fill up my Toyota 4Runner. That's no fun.
Okay, so you got an SUV. Yeah, that's about right.
And I'm not even traveling anywhere. Meanwhile, flying isn't any better. Flights are up almost 30% with the average cost of a ticket nearly $400.
Yeah.
Travelers, well, they're feeling it. Watch.
Wish it was a lot cheaper. I mean, I would like.
Of course, we always do. We always wish it was a lot cheaper.
To be able to.
This is the start of the summer travel season as well. Travel is expected to be quite expensive this year. Everybody wants to get out again. Everyone's done with COVID now, and they want to get out and travel and go see the peoples, see where they can get deals if you can get any. We've all been cooped up for 2.5, 3 years. Yeah, get out there, travel, enjoy yourself. Be cautious, wear your masks, etc. But yeah, there's going to be higher demand and a severe lack of pilots. It costs tens of thousands of dollars to become a pilot and tens of thousands of hours becoming a pilot, and we're running out of them. Pilots are retiring. And there's no program. There's no government program to help out pilots. You want to be a doctor, you can get a scholarship. You want to be a lawyer, you can get a scholarship. You want to be go to a trade school and learn how to fix AC? Yeah, there's money out there for you. Nothing for pilots.
To travel a lot more. Now that I got a good job, I want to be able to travel and go do things and see.
There you go. She's got a good job. Thank you, Biden.
People. So wish it was lower. Hopefully it'll get back there.
I think it's summertime. Everyone likes to get out, and we've spent 2 years stuck at home.
And if you flew, you likely saw some headaches. Look at this. There have been 322 delays and 208 cancellations for
It says 720 cancellations, so I don't know.
U.S. flights. Finally, when you get wherever you were going, anything you might want to throw on that grill. And Pete, I know you like meat. Well, it's going to cost an arm and a leg. Bacon up almost 18%. Chicken up almost 16.5%.
I'm still seeing cheap chicken. I'm still seeing cheap bacon. I was in, where was I? Went into Walmart today to get sour cream while I was charging JoJo's car. The parking lot for Walmart has one of the fast chargers in it. And I walked into Walmart. I actually went in there for something else. Oh, I went in there for COVID tests. Guess what they're sold out of? Let that be a warning, people. Walmart is out of rapid tests. Something's going on. I walked into Costco the other day, this week. Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. And right up at the front, right next to the TVs when you walk in, they got the TVs. They got the... usually whatever the super sale is on the left, they've got the COVID test right as you walk in. That tells me that people have been going to the pharmacy and saying, where are the COVID tests? Where are the COVID tests? And so Costco has elected to put them right up front, which tells you a lot of people are asking about the COVID test, which tells you a lot of people are getting symptoms. May or may not be COVID, we don't know.
Ground beef up 15%, even hot dogs up almost 7%. Pete, Rachel, Will?
Thought hot dogs were down last year.
Yeah.
Thanks, Griff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Griff. Everyone's facing these high costs. I think you were staying home this weekend because he really wanted to see Top Gun.
Yeah, he's texting us how good Top Gun is.
I want to see Top Gun. Except Tom's crazy.
It's not just texting us. I mean, furious,
He loves it.
enthusiastic.
Better than the original, he said.
He said Top Gun Maverick better than the original, according
I've heard a couple of people say that. I've also heard a couple of people say, meh.
to Griff Jenkins.
According to Griff
Has anybody seen Top Gun Maverick?
Jenkins. So we're going to all watch it, and we're going to decide if Griff is right, because I do love the original.
Okay, deal.
Griff not prone to hyperbole. I mean
Agreed.
That. Like,
Agreed.
he says that, he means it.
That's a voice I trust. All right. Well, coming up, the drug crisis is surging, and now New York City is telling addicts to feel empowered. The confusing ad campaign next.
Don't be ashamed. Be empowered.
Oh, I got to see that.
Plus, woke LA District Attorney George.
California is starting to get a little frustrated.
You should understand the difference between the two holidays. To reiterate, Veterans Day for those who served, Memorial Day for those who gave their life in service.
Okay, that's easy to get confused. People get confused all the time. I've had veterans get confused about that. Let's see what we can find here. Okay, here we go. I want to see this ad campaign because New York does have some wacky stuff. If you've ever ridden the New York subway and seen the PSA ads, it's wacky.
It was conflicting, actually.
Talk to your room. Okay, Addicted in America. Here we go.
The New York City Department of Health is out with a new campaign promoting drug users to do so safely. An advertisement reading, "Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed you are using. Be empowered. that you are using safely.
Okay.
Our next guest lost her son in 2013.
Right, because fentanyl users die a lot of times. Record number, 100,000 drug overdoses last year. Not just fentanyl, but many others. So yeah, there's an epidemic of drugs, and a lot of people use it in shame and don't have access to the care that they need when they overdose, and they die. So we're trying not to lose kids, is what we're trying to do. Portugal had a huge heroin problem. And then they decriminalized heroin, and they said, hey, if you got to use, come to one of these safety sites, and we'll have Narcan, which is how you get people back from it. We'll shoot it right in your heart if you overdose. But just please stop doing it in secret. Stop doing it privately. We're losing too many of our citizens. And the year that they did that, they went from several hundred people dying to 3 people dying. It can work.
When he overdosed.
Now, is this country going to decriminalize fentanyl? No. No, it is not. Not now. It's taking forever just to decriminalize marijuana. Oh no, he OD'd on marijuana. What happened? He totally bought out the store from Doritos, and now there's a Dorito shortage. But he gave a good tip to the guy from Postmates.
On heroin, and now she runs a foundation.
Canada has had very good results with the safe injection sites as well, yeah.
Foundation in his memory. Kathy Koningsdorf joins us live. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us this morning. You lost your son tragically to a heroin overdose, and when you saw this advertisement, I'm just curious, what did you think?
It was conflicting, actually. I had not seen it until someone brought it to my attention, because I haven't been in the subway or on the LIRR in several years. The message, it's great that we want to have a conversation, and it's fantastic that they want to bring it mainstream. But
thanks, Libby. Okay, I've seen what I've seen on Pulp Fiction. Apparently, Narcan is injected into the thigh, not into the heart. Thank you.
We have to be careful about our messaging, and particularly one of these 2 posters that I saw as an example.
You know, it might have been they were doing chest compressions. I don't remember. It's a long time ago I saw it. Christopher Ryan says, my father would still be alive if he was surrounded by professionals instead of being alone. I'm sorry, Christopher.
Is harmful. Bottom line, it's harmful. To tell people not to be ashamed you're using, to be empowered that you are using safely. If this is all a campaign about fentanyl, fentanyl is not safe. Fentanyl is used for end-of-life situations. A tiny, tiny, tiny amount can be fatal. So I don't agree with that messaging. I think it's dangerous.
But a ton of people use it and don't die. That's the problem. It's the bad trip where you end up dying. But if you can be rescued, city of New York or the state of New York City would like you to still be alive. That's all.
Let me read you some of the...
Isn't endorphin in... I don't know. Who called this thing Facts and Friends? It's a joke. What am I thinking of? Was it in Maine? Where Governor Paul, and he outlawed Narcan? Is that what? Again, there's so much nonsense in my brain now. I don't know.
Tips, and so our viewers get a better understanding of what this advertisement says. It says, avoid using alone. Take turns. Start with a small dose. Go slowly. Keep naloxone ready and on hand. Avoid mixing drugs. Test your drugs using fentanyl test strips. My concern, Kathy, is that it's not just encouraging drug use for those who are doing it, but it's sending a message to those who are maybe thinking about using it, who haven't yet, that maybe this is safe if you're just careful.
Well,
that's one way to look at it. Okay.
Fentanyl isn't safe. That's just the bottom line. Avoid using alone and taking turns is interesting because most drug users that are consistent users, particularly opioid users, don't share their drugs.
No, they do not. She's got a good point there. It is a very wacky... I mean, I don't know. I don't have the solution for it. Portugal does. Decriminalize it. Invite people in. I guess in New York, the last thing you want to do is bring people together during COVID. I don't know.
Correctly, and this conversation continues for the broader public, we can do better. We can absolutely do better, but we have to message absolutely correctly and know who and target who we're looking to speak to each and every time we message.
That's right. I'll note that your foundation, named after your son Jake, your beloved son Jake, is about helping people find lifetime recovery. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Kathy.
Good for her. Good for her.
You're welcome.
I'm
Have a
sorry
great
about her
day.
son.
You too. Happy Memorial Day. Still ahead, we are live from Charlotte Motor Speedway ahead of the Coca-Cola.
I'm not going to ask. Let's see if there's anybody else here that we need to see. Probably wrap it up for today, folks. I'm ready to wind down. It's 6:30 in the evening on a Sunday. It feels like something should be happening. What is everybody up to for the rest of the weekend here? I got a tennis tournament tomorrow, but I will be rehearsing lines. I have a play that our dress rehearsal is on Tuesday, so I'll be working on that. For those of you who are, well, what play is it? I don't want anyone to come. I really don't. I don't want anyone I know to come to a Super Spreader event. I will be wearing a mask during the performance. I'm not sure why we're doing theater. So, yeah. And I went to get the COVID tests and they're sold out. So, but that's just Walmart. There's COVID tests around. By the way, baby formula now 70% sold out in the United States. I was at Walmart today and there was baby formula. There were the Similacs, there were the infant, there were what are they called? Prenups? Not prenups. Come on. Neonatal preemies. So they had the formula there for that. Just a couple of bottles. They had all kinds of organic formula for infants, which is probably more expensive. And I think the people at Walmart were just like, I'm not buying that. I'll let my kids starve. That's not true. But they did have some of that. So only 70%. I thought that after they said this 48% gone, 55% gone, sold out, I thought that everything would be sold out 100% like in a half a day. Because anywhere there was baby formula, people would rush in and buy the rest of it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I guess people are not hoarding. And at Walmart, they limited to 5 canisters. I did see that. So I'm not sure where we are with the baby formula, but baby formula has been brought in. If you happen to know somebody that can't find baby formula and the infant is in trouble, have the infant taken to the hospital or call their doctor or whatever, because all that formula that came in from overseas, that apparently was distributed to doctors and hospitals in cases where people could not get the formula that they needed. Trying to see if what's this? I don't know what it is, Kevin. Why don't you press play?
A target in the
Okay, what do we got here?
age of.
Oh, this is the real news. Hold on. This is
Russia captures the strategically important town of.
Why is she smiling? As Russia captures the strategically important. The wrong tone there. Read the planet, honey. Go.
I will report to duty as needed. It's the movie America has been waiting for. Thanks, guys.
Great.
Love this guy. All right. Turning now to your headlines. Russia captures the strategically important town of Limon in Ukraine. The town gives Moscow critical access to railways and bridges. UK intelligence says its capture yesterday.
Railways is a tough word to say. It is. Try it. Railways. I just did it twice, but it's tough. Railways.
Yesterday is part of Russia's, quote, next stage of invasion, focusing on its Donbass offensive. Russia is also claiming it successfully tested a hypersonic Zircon cruise missile. They say the launch covered 625.
A what? A hypersonic? What did she say?
Today is part of Russia's, quote, next stage of invasion, focusing on its Donbass offensive. Russia is also claiming it successfully tested a hypersonic Zircon cruise missile.
I'm pretty sure she meant to say hydrosonic, like Trump used to say. Not sure if it's a hypersonic. Don't know about a hypersonic. That would be scary.
Missile. They say the launch covered 625 miles, striking a target in the White Sea. And a story that really has me fired up, a large solid gold tabernacle worth, get this, $2 million is stolen from a Catholic church in Brooklyn. Police say the thieves drilled and cut a giant hole into the tabernacle's casing to pull it out. They also...
All right. And then, oh, wait, the XFL as well. Don't forget, no, the USFL, whatever it is, the something FL, the World League of American Football, which also is WLAF. Okay, so that's just Speedway stuff. I think we're done with anything important today. It's Memorial Day Sunday. Anybody else report in on what they're doing for the day? Anything interesting? It's been so much... So Libby's been sending out formula. Good for you. How did my audition go? I don't know. I haven't booked anything, so apparently not well. I don't know. No, we have tests. We have tests. We're good on COVID tests. We're okay. We have excess COVID tests. But every month, and this is true, every month, everywhere in America, if you have health insurance, you are entitled to 8 free COVID tests. I'm not talking about going to the covidtest.gov and getting some in the mail. I'm talking about going to your health insurance site, seeing what pharmacies are covered, and going to the CVS or the Walgreens or the Walmart or whatever and saying, hey, can I get my free 8 free COVID tests? For my health insurance plan, it is every month. Every calendar month, I can get 8 more COVID tests. For producer JoJo's healthcare plan, I think it's every 28 days or every 30 days, whatever it is. So on the 28th of the month, she has to wait till the next 28th of the month, and then she can get 8 more COVID tests, if they're available. So you are eligible. If you have insurance in the United States, go get your COVID tests. They come in handy. We've been using them from time to time. The other day, I actually went to the theater for a rehearsal, and a couple of people weren't able to get a COVID test. Here's what happened. I got a notification on my phone that I'd been exposed to COVID. I had been 2 places in the 2 days that they said, I wish, I'm going to stop this for a second, I wish that the COVID application thing on my phone would say, you were exposed at this time at this location. That's what it should be doing. To tell me you were exposed on the 22nd or the 23rd to somebody that tested positive for... What time were they there? What time was I there? Let me know. Otherwise, I'm running around on a wild goose chase. Figure it out, people. Oh, no, but then people's privacy, because if it was one other person at the said location, then you know that they have COVID. Fine. When they sign up for the app, have them give permission to violate their privacy. If I have COVID, I want everyone that I've been in contact with to know that I have COVID. Please get yourself tested. Anyway, I got that notification. I'd only been 2 places, a hockey rink, and where I was around my teammates who were all vaccinated. Nobody has reported COVID, and the theater. But it could have been somebody else who was at the theater that day for other rehearsals, because the theater's going all day long. Or it could have been I walked through, I don't know, a store somewhere, and someone at that store, I might have gone to Ralph's and bought some sour cream, and somebody else, I buy a lot of sour cream apparently in my head, somebody else had, okay, so I told everybody in the cast, hey, get yourself tested. I'm good. I'm positive. I'm positive I'm negative. I went and got a PCR test, plus I nasal swabbed, and that night I took extra tests. I have extra tests in my backpack at all times, swabbed everybody who needed to be swabbed. We're all good. But we have extra tests. Don't worry about sending some our way. Hold on. Something's making noise in the studio, and I have no idea what it is. Okay, well, we're wrapping things up anyway. Anything else to cover before we go? I don't know. Can you guys hear that whining? I can hear it through my headphones. It's probably me whining about the app. I don't think there's anything else coming up here today. What? Oh, here is the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. She's a Republican. Her name is Sears, and let's listen to what she has to say. They'll probably be asking her about Uvalde. Let's find out.
And they're saying, though, that school safety has now gone up to the top of their list, maybe even above inflation, for their concerns coming up. Your thoughts on school safety?
You know, I had 3 children go home ahead of me. It's that knock on the door that the sheriff comes and they tell you that your daughter is dead and your other granddaughter is dead and the other one is on life support. So I have a different sense of it. So these parents did not have an opportunity to say goodbye, and that hurts even worse, you know. And what we do need are school resource officers, these safety officers. And in our budget in Virginia, which I have not seen yet, and hopefully will see before June 1st when we're gavelled back into session, the Governor Youngkin, has put in there $50 million for school resource officers. And, you know, folks on the other side that he was causing, you know, a militarized schooling, you know, and our children are going to be afraid. No. This is why we need it. Let's stop making this political. I hate when folks just...
Okay, but that's political. By definition. You're a politician, you're doing this, that's political.
Take a crisis and just, you know, put all kinds of filth and vile into it just to score electoral points. They're burning their own house down, and the house is America. We have to come together.
Okay, but you're not doing anything about the actual problem. The problem is people with guns coming into the schools. Yeah, you can put a school resource officer there. There was one in Uvalde. He was there. There's 4 or 5 on the staff. They were there. The teachers had guns. Or at least they had the permission to have guns. We don't know if they did. The doors were reinforced. It was all that it was all done. Everything you're talking about doing, it was all done. Not only did they have resources on site, they had their own police force. Didn't work.
I'd love to follow up on that. Just from a logistical standpoint, we've talked various times about the funding of protecting our schools. You talked about the money going there in Virginia. I'm curious, there's so much COVID funding that has been dedicated to the states and then into school districts.
Why? What? Okay, good. Also good. That's the correct response. That is also good. The schools need more money in general. We will take any money we can get for the schools.
How does that, can that, if it's...
What my understanding right now, and again, everything coming out of Uvalde is sketchy, my understanding is that he broke the window in the door of the classroom to gain access to the classroom.
A hurdle. If
we don't know yet.
Money is a hurdle. If it's a logistical issue, can that money be rediverted? You know, you're at the state level. Can you start putting it to saving schools?
The Congress just passed 40.
Money is not the issue. Money is, that's what all the Republicans are saying right now. And 10 minutes ago, they were saying, oh, the government's putting way too much money into the system. Look at this inflation. Oh my God, the price of gas and bacon. But money's not the issue. But it's the issue.
$40 billion with a B dollars for the Ukraine. 40 billion. Just like that.
Right.
How is it then
and billions for the schools.
Begins at home?
Billions for the schools. And guess who keeps turning down the funding for the schools? The Republicans.
Amen.
Our children need that money to be safe.
Ad Random says he shot through the window according to an 11-year-old girl who was there.
We need them to know, the parents need to know that when you...
Thank God she survived to tell that story.
Drop your child off, your child will be there to be picked up. That's what this is about. This is our future.
Absolutely. If you look, we alluded to it in your introduction, if you look at what the left does, they immediately go to guns right away.
Right.
There's an NRA convention.
Because it was a guy with a gun. That was the problem. They immediately try and fix the problem. Right away.
That you spoke at.
They make it political. Because guess what? This is democracy, and that's how we change things in a democracy. Through politics.
But many other supporters of the Second Amendment avoided it or canceled going to the NRA. And again, excuse us here, we've got a Black Hawk helicopter coming behind us. And by the way, Winsome, as a Marine veteran, knows a little bit about this.
I love it. I love it. It's
cool
the sound of freedom. Sure is.
It's the sound of freedom for sure. But some have said, I'm not going to the NRA convention. Isn't that giving in to the idea that the NRA is part of the problem?
You know, when I was at the NRA, I saw mothers and daughters, young daughters and grandmothers, and all they want is to be able to protect themselves. The NRA was...
So, give the daughters guns in school? Again, teachers can bring guns to their school in Texas. There was a school resource officer very close by. Sometimes he's at the site in Texas. It didn't fucking work.
Started by Union veterans who saw that the forces were lacking in their skill. And they just wanted to be sure that people would be able to protect themselves as well. And
I don't know what? Union veterans who saw the forces were lacking? She's probably talking about post-Civil War and the Union soldiers, but it just inadequately phrased.
I have a Second Amendment right,
to join the militia, a well-regulated militia, and keep firearms. Should you be called up to defend the state or the federal government? Yes. That's what the Second Amendment says. I'm not making this up. Go read the Second Amendment.
The guns that I have, and nobody's going to take that from me, because the first segment of a demographic of people who had their guns taken away were black people. Martin Luther King Jr. wanted a concealed carry permit, and he was denied because...
Well, there's reasons for that. But yeah, you're pointing out another basic problem in this country.
They said he didn't have...
At Random says they're promising you budget dollars for security guards in schools, while teachers continue to use their own money to buy supplies or tweet Amazon wish lists to crowdfund their classrooms. Exactly. You want to fund schools? Go ahead. Fund those schools. Be my guest. Pass all the school funding you want to fund.
Good character.
That's what the Democrats should do. That's what the Democrats should do. They should take whatever money they're going to send to Ukraine, saying we'll match it. Pass this money. This is the school rescue package. Pass this money, please, GOP. This is money for the schools to do with what they please. See what happens.
That we never learn from history, and we're not going back there. But more than that, we have a First Amendment right. This is America. You hear this? It's the sound of liberty. Let's not use the things that have happened.
It's the sound of a helicopter.
To us to divide us anymore. Yeah. Let's just come together, because you know what? If we come to find the wrong problem, we're going to come up with the wrong solutions, and it's going to continue.
That is so true.
We have fathers who aren't home. We have emasculated our men. Our children.
That's the problem. That's the problem, is we don't let guys hang their balls out anymore. That's the issue. It's all those women complaining about being raped. That's the problem. That's so emasculating. It's all those women complaining about, oh, he complimented me on my boobs. That's the real problem, America. Not guns. That shooter went into that classroom because boobs. That's why. He killed all those kids with wokeness. That's the problem. Fucking idiots. Give me a second here. I want to see if I can find something here. Yeah. The Republicans are screaming, oh, why can't we have unity? Why can't we have unity? Hold on. I'll show you why we can't have unity. This is the same Republican congresswoman who took pictures of formula and milk, powdered milk, mostly powdered milk, at the border and complained that brown babies had formula when American babies didn't. Complained that brown babies were being fed. Same woman. Here she is.
And I gotta tell you, she does not greet me like that when she sees me. No, I've been working really hard at pissing Nancy Pelosi off. Yeah.
Why won't you unify the country?
Because, there's just that feeling that you get when your feet hit the floor in the morning, and I say, what can I do today that will make Nancy just cringe and grind her stupid little fingers together?
I know, but there you go. That's certainly, she's working hard for unity. I mean, you can't fault her.
Are at stake. You notice that these shooters, they have had family problems. The Parkland shooter, 37.
Some of them do, some of them don't.
7 times police.
So that's the problem. People who have family issues shoot up schools. That's what's going on. And by the way, the rest of the industrialized world, the other democracies, they don't have family problems. There is no divorce in Canada. No child abuse. No absent fathers. It just doesn't happen there. And in Australia, they had a mass shooting in Perth, and they said, that's it. All families stay together and everyone will treat each other with respect. No more shootings. Fantastic. Smart. New Zealand refused for years. Then they had the shooting at the mosque, and they're like, all right, everybody stay home. They did the lockdown at the same time, and they're like, everybody, this lockdown is not going to be such a big deal, because we don't let you leave home anyway. Because that family unit has to be together, and that's why we don't have mass shootings. As soon as you get divorced, you're going to have school shootings. That's the difference.
We're called.
God, I wish people were all as smart as this lady.
To his home. It's not the gun.
I know.
Wait, whoa. Wait Australia has lots of guns, right? New Zealand, lots of guns, easy access to guns in Canada. Because it's the fact that they're not, that's the issue, right? No one's getting divorced. That's...
One of the pieces of this puzzle that we're trying to put together is mental health. And I know that's an issue that hits really close to home. You alluded to it a little.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It is mental health. That's the issue. I'm glad they're finally covering it. Canada has no mental health issues. Australia has no mental health. New Zealand used to, and then they hit the mosque shooting, and then they're like, no one's going to be mentally ill. And then that was that. Problem solved, my friends.
A little earlier, when you talked about the tragic death of your daughter, talk to us about mental health and why are people not talking?
Kimchi's got a good point there, but she's a little bit off here. Guns don't kill people. Classroom doors kill people. Yeah.
Talking more about that.
You know, when my daughter was bipolar, and we didn't know that, you know, didn't know the signs, and I had to go get her from college because she had had a psychotic break, and I don't know what to do. And one of the times she was in jail because they didn't have a bed for her. Okay. So we need, and the governor again has put it in his budget, to reopen the facilities all around Virginia so that we can help the people, give the citizens the help that they need. Unfortunately, the other side has politicized even that too. It's like, is this only about an election? Is this only about keeping a seat? The people are suffering, and you're talking about you don't want to give the governor a win. Excuse me, this is our tax money that you're playing with. So you know what I'm going to do?
What are you going to do?
Next year I'm putting in a bill. I'm going to find a senator and a delegate to carry it that tells the people, if you, delegate or senator, don't pass a budget within the allotted time that the Constitution gives us, then you are going to owe the people of Virginia $500 every day for the first 5 days that you don't pass a budget.
That would never, ever pass through the courts. That's just really dumb. But okay, you do that. What are we talking about? School shootings? But yes, start fining the legislature $500. Do it. I'd love it, actually. Yeah, if it can stand, it won't. The other states have tried this, by the way. This is an old scheme that's been tried before. They have to go to jail if they don't pass the bill by the budget, by the time, by the debt.
Budget, and then $1,000 after that until you pass a budget. You're going to do your job. You don't. The first thing that we did when we came back into session, May 22nd, when the governor saw there was no action, he, the senators and the delegates.
By the way, they're all part-timers in most of the states.
Gets voted.
So they come back into session and they get like 6 weeks or whatever to pass everything. Some of the stuff doesn't get passed, gets pushed on to the summer session, if there's a summer session, which there usually isn't, etc., etc. It's not like the federal government where they go, they get in a good 50 days of work a year. They spend the rest of the time fundraising.
Themselves pay. They wanted to be paid to do a job they had not yet done.
Sounds about standard for politicians.
In the real world, that doesn't work.
That's exactly
we get
right.
fired.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I make it 4.
Well, I mean, in the real world, there have been scientists trying to cure cancer now for 80 to 90 years. Probably 200 years. I have no idea, honestly. I am not a sciencer. No one has cured cancer yet, but they still get paid, okay? Because they're trying. That's the real world as well.
Times since we've been talking.
Correct.
That the Black Hawk has practiced his touchdown at the start-finish line, which is where you will be tonight. You're the honorary.
All right. I think that's it for today, guys. Yeah. It's coming up on 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock in the East. Go to bed. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Most importantly, be good to me. And God bless you if you have a veteran in your family. Even though it's not Veterans Day, give him a ring. Say hi. Say thank you. Be good to each other, guys.